was one of the first networkers that I started to talk to, and someone who couldn't be here today, Chuck Michael. And we launched the company on November 10th. So we had this momentum from making national headlines. And David and Chuck were saying, look, you know, we've got this momentum, we've got all these people that want to come in, we've got to put up a website, put a back office in place. So you can imagine how much work had to be done between the middle of August and November 10th in order for us to launch as a company. And we did $500,000 in business that very first month, going from almost nothing. But here was the funny part. So we had our website, and David, who I had only spoken to by phone, I hadn't met him in person yet, he said, okay, I've created a video for the company. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm coming from an industry where I'm meeting with nuclear engineers and brilliant scientists. I was working at facilities where there's nuclear subs. And so I have this fellow that I haven't met yet, and he said, okay, I've created a video for your company. I'm thinking, what kind of business am I in? He's a distributor. Why is he making a corporate video? I don't get it. And he sent it to me, and I was sitting in my home office at the time, and it was absolutely brilliant. I mean, it literally, it brought a tear to my eye. I thought, this is absolutely incredible. So of course, you know, I thanked him for doing it. It was a huge hit, and it helped get us to get the company to start. I want to mention also the two other leaders that were up here. Jan Vigal. So when we started, we were confining our launch to the US. It was all about, at that point, trying to build infrastructure, hire people in customer service and order fulfillment. And given that I was outside the industry, I will tell you, I made every mistake that you could make as an executive in a network marketing company. But somehow we survived, we got momentum, and had a phenomenal first year. But as networkers will do, many networkers weren't satisfied with containing the launch to the US. And we would be on leadership calls, and networkers would say, well, why don't we open in Australia? Or why don't we open in Europe and Japan? And you know, I don't know what to say. Yeah, sure, that sounds great. Why not open in Japan? How do you do that? But I remember being in Germany, and I had dinner with Jan Vigal. And you know, like, you meet many people across time in this business who say, well, I'm going to be one of your top leaders, I'm going to build a business, I'm really excited about this. And then we know very often some of those people come and go. And Jan, I want to thank you for always being there for LifeWave and being just such a wonderful example of a leader. Thank you. And then the other gentleman that was up here was Brother Roy Surgeon. Now, Roy and I have been in more countries with Roy than any other leader or brand partner in the company. Roy has that distinction. And the two of us, as he said, we've been on stage together in Mexico, countries in Europe, all throughout Asia. We've done meetings in the Philippines, Australia, Indonesia, Japan. I mean, you kind of name it, and Roy and I were there patching people. And we had just some incredible experiences, you know, things that if our VP of legal were here, he wouldn't want me to say. I know Roy would say them. And they would all be true. But really, witnessing, the two of us had the opportunity to really witness a number of miracles that occurred when we applied patches to people. We had an experience where we were in a hospital, in the Philippines, and we were meeting with the head of the hospital. And this gentleman, he was their head of surgery. He came up on stage to introduce me, and he had been a basketball player. And he had 2 bad knees, so he had 2 crutches that he was coming up on stage with. And it was a meeting with about 200 doctors and nurses. And before I started my presentation, I thought, I want to patch him, which I did. And he put the crutches down, he started walking away, he said, "This is unbelievable, I'm out of pain." And he jumped off the stage. And so then that caused a chain reaction. Then there was the head of anesthesia said, "Oh, I've got to try this." And so before we ever got to telling people what the patches were, we had a line of people that wanted to try them. One other memory that I will never forget with Roy was we were doing a meeting in Indonesia together. We were touring the country. And the first thing to know about Roy is that he's incredibly passionate about his spirituality, about his Christian faith, and he wants to share that as much as he does the patches. And we were supposed to do a meeting in the south of Indonesia, and the volcano erupted. And so we couldn't get a flight in. And I thought, okay, let's see if maybe we can do another meeting up in the northern part of Indonesia. And Roy said to me, "Chief, come on, let's go. We'll go down over to the south of Indonesia. Don't worry about the volcano. Put on the armor of God. Everything's going to be fine." And I had to remind him that armor of God is a spiritual term to defend against evil, not a raging, exploding volcano. Right? Those are 2 different things. We also have to exercise some common sense as Christians. But I had to admire the faith. And we ended up renting a car and a Jeep and crossing through the jungles of Indonesia with monkeys swinging through the trees, getting to our next destination. So Roy, thank you for that wonderful memory, and thank you for being a true warrior for life. So 2006 comes along, we're doing really well, and October of that year, a person was signing up in France and signing up positions using stolen credit cards. And they racked up about $1 million in sales before we detected it, and our system came crashing down. And we had to issue refunds to people, but we had already paid money on commissions, we'd already shipped product, we couldn't get any of that stuff back. And by that Christmas, we were looking at going out of business. And the only way we made payroll for Christmas was because I took, and I don't want to edify myself here, so I have to be careful. I had to take all the money that I had in savings to pay payroll. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I went 16 months without taking a salary, because times were really tough. I lived off of credit cards. And the reason I'm sharing this is because my life and livelihood and it is completely tied into this company. It is absurd for me to take any other path in my life. My life is LifeWave. Thankfully, we made it through 2007. It was an incredibly difficult year for the business, through a lot of hard work, a lot of patience and persistence, leaders like David and Roy stepping up, continuing to do meetings, continuing to bring people in, that we got through those really difficult times. And when we got to January of 2008, we had leaders that signed up in Europe and started to build those markets. And for 3 years in a row, our sales were doubling year over year. And LifeWave had made a comeback. So